Like many of us today, I now spend my time on video calls, or waiting for them to start. But before I jump on my next one, let me share a story about the day I started my very first media project. With 20/20 hindsight, I realized that this was the start of my journey to RACER. I was 16 years old, and now, after 49 years, it is finally done. Our world has changed so much since then. But my passion for racing and sharing the sport with others still drives me. My father, Ron Pfanner, was part of the team at North American Rockwell in Downey, California, building the Apollo command module that would take mankind to the moon and back, so he knew a lot about risk, and he taught me not to fear it. Dad lived his life on the edge of the future, and we shared the same heroes. In the brave faces of Parnelli Jones, Dan Gurney, Jimmy Clark, and A.J. Foyt, I saw something that made me want to risk everything for my dreams. I was also obsessed with sharing my passion for racing, from racing slot cars, go-karts, and even creating my own hand-drawn books and magazines. I was all in. Dad and I look forward to our annual ritual of watching the Indy 500 together in a theater live on closed-circuit TV. We also dreamed we would go to Indy together someday. But amazingly, Indy came to us. Not long after Apollo 13 safely returned to Earth, Dad handed me tickets to the inaugural California 500 at a brand new 2.5-mile superspeedway built in the image of Indy.
It cost $25.5 million to turn a vineyard into a racetrack, and it was worth it. On Sunday, September 6, 1970, during the Labor Day weekend, the newest, most modern raceway in the world, the Ontario Motor Speedway, opened with the inaugural running of the California 500. A paid attendance of 180,223 spectators anxiously awaited the start of their first California 500.
By the spring of 1971, I was a junior in high school. But it wasn't just any high school. It was Whittier High, the alma mater of Richard M. Nixon. We had little in common other than both of us serving on the staff of the Whittier High newspaper. He was the paper's features editor, and I was the cartoonist. But the temptation to goof on the president got the better of me, so that didn't last long. Thankfully, art teacher Mark Bermudez saw something in me, and he nurtured my interest in art and my passion for racing. Following the inaugural California 500, I went on an artistic rampage and created dozens of drawings and paintings, expressing my love for the sport. Many of my heroes were tragically lost or retired, but a new hero was now the focus of my racing devotion and my art. His name is Mario Andretti, and he won in any type of racing car, anywhere he raced. From Indy to Daytona to Sebring, Mario is the man. After his long overdue 1969 Indy 500 victory, Mario was now focusing his intentions on Formula One. On March 6, 1971, Mario won the season-opening South African Grand Prix, driving a Ferrari 312B. This was his first Formula One victory, and I was thrilled. Now I was on a mission. 3 weeks later, Ontario Motor Speedway was hosting their inaugural professional road race called the Questor Grand Prix. Mario was the only American in a Formula One car, so I liked his chances, and I had to be there. Ticket prices were sky high, so my pals and I decided to catch the far cheaper Friday practice session. The view from the grandstands was okay, but we wanted to be a lot closer to the action. But I could never have imagined what happened next. On Saturday morning, I went to my part-time job at a sporting goods store, and the assistant manager asked if I wanted a pit pass he'd received from the Questor Corporation. You know the answer. But I wanted my pals to come with me, so I whipped out the acrylic paints, stayed up all night long, and created 4 more passes that allowed more access than the original. Our posse of 5 was always up for dangerous adventures. But did I mention that we also like to make movies of our antics? On race day, 5 16-year-olds strolled past the security guards and into the garage area of Ontario Motor Speedway. Of course, we immediately found Mario's gorgeous Ferrari 312B. Then we checked out the brand new Brabham Ford of two-time world champion Graham Hill. Next we headed to the pits to watch morning warm-up. There's 1967 F1 world champion Denny Hulme. Here's Swede Savage in his Plymouth-powered Eagle F5000 car. He would have a serious accident later that day. Here's Denny pushing his new McLaren Ford back to the garage area, just like Formula One drivers do today. There's David Hobbs in his McLaren Chevy. And here's Mark Donohue's Penske Lola Chevy. Behold the SCCA Formula Ford Support Race Pre-Grid. This is one of my strongest memories of the day because it fueled my burning desire to race. It was a fantastic and frantic battle, and I knew this would be the class for me. Car number 83 looked like it was a time traveler from the future. As it turned out, it was, from my future. Race day was full of surprises, and one of the best was the awesome demonstration race for the upcoming AMA Professional Motorcycle Road Race. Everywhere we turned, there were famous racers, cool racing cars, celebrities we didn't recognize, and over-the-top pre-race pageantry. Then we were on the grid for what promised to be the most interesting and important race in global motorsports. The crowd looked decent, but not anywhere close to the inaugural California 500 6 months earlier. As the amazing field of cars and stars rolled off the grid and onto Ontario Motor Speedway, I looked around at my excited pals, and I felt a surge of emotion and a premonition that this ritual would become my life. The truth is that we were just broke teenagers, so we only had enough money to buy 5 rolls of Super 8 movie film. So what you just saw was the first heat race departing the grid, and now you are watching the second heat race from trackside, with nothing in front of us but cars and action. We couldn't believe we could get this close. This was one of the greatest gatherings of racing talent in the history of the sport. There were 5 past and future F1 world champions, who would capture 9 titles between them. These drivers in this field also scored 100 Grand Prix victories. There were also 7 past and future Indy 500 winners who would record 14 victories at the Brickyard and 17 IndyCar championships. These racers achieved 221 IndyCar wins. Those on this grid also accounted for 15 victories at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, 10 victories at the Daytona 24 Hours, and 11 victories at the Sebring 12 Hours. 5 SCCA Can-Am championships, 6 SCCA Trans Am titles, and 5 SCCA Formula 5000 championships were also represented in the entry, along with 2 Daytona 500 wins. It was a unique moment in the history of racing. There has never been a race or a field like this again. There were intense battles for the lead in both heat races. But Mario Andretti drove brilliantly, winning both races for Ferrari. Five teenagers with fake credentials stood in awe as they witnessed Mario's Ferrari roll into victory circle at Ontario Motor Speedway. That moment was filled with pure joy. An American had won this war of two worlds and beaten the best drivers on the planet. The victory celebration continued for some time, but we stuck around because we had one more thing left to do. Victory Circle was the heart of the track's identity, and at its center were the original bricks from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The crowd was long gone as I took a victory lap with my pal Drew Somers. Then we stood on the bricks, and in that moment, I knew that this was where I belonged. The previous year, I was just a kid sitting in a grandstand seat in turn one with my dad. Now I wanted more. so I was determined to repeat our Forged Pass adventures at the second annual California 500. So I upped my game, and I started carrying a clipboard to make it look like I was actually doing something. My cousin Jim worked at a Union 76 gas station and wanted to join our posse, so he loaned us some of his uniform shirts to help us blend in. Our fake passes worked during practice and qualifying, but the truth is, we were starting to get cocky and beginning to push our luck. It began to dawn on me that there had to be more to all this than just having fun. But race day had better security, and someone noticed all these teenagers wearing Union 76 shirts. Indy cars didn't use gasoline. They were fueled with methanol. We were caught and released, but my dad was not amused. But I loved everything about Ontario Motor Speedway, except getting caught by security. I was inspired by the branding, marketing, and advertising that was truly world-class and decades ahead of its time. My trajectory was now set, and I was on a mission to land in this exotic world. Failure was not an option.